So I'll show you the build I would recommend. So what I would recommend is either any kind of rocket launcher. I'm going to use the Apex Predator myself. I use a scout rifle for DPS when my rocket launcher's gone, and then I use my Smuggler's Word or Rat King for when I actually, and I'll use my Smuggler's Word and my Rat King when I'll use Smuggler's Word and Rat King for damage onto the, I'm not sure what I should call them, but the phase enemies that drop the radiant seeds, because that drop the radiant batteries. And the Smuggler's Word is actually surprisingly good. I don't have good rolls on it, but a good roll would be tap the trigger. Just having tap the trigger on it is incredibly useful. So try to get one of those on it when you do get to it. If you do get one with tap the trigger, don't dismantle it if you're into forge ignitions. And that is just a quick little thing that I want you to know before you actually get into this. But right now, I'm just gonna go to the tower to get a frame that I can work on while I'm doing this, because I need one more frame this week in order to. I completely forgot. I need one more frame this week in order to complete the challenge for me to want to get the armor, which isn't really that useful because you can just get the armor thing that Ada is selling now since Izanagi's Burden Quest. But you're still doing it, so I guess it can't be all that bad. Yeah, my Apex Predator isn't a good. It doesn't have that good rolls. It has pretty decent rolls if you ask me, but not too overly good rolls. Because auto-loading holster, you can't exactly use it, but it just happens if you have to get rid of it for any reason. That perk will kick right in, and you can just do whatever happens, like, really. So I'm going to the annex of the tower to get the powerful bow frame to try to get the Le Monarch or Jotun, because by the time I finish this bow frame, Jotun will probably come out. But if you didn't know what I'm talking about by the Izanagi's Burden and armor thing and everything, I will scroll over to show you what I am talking about. I am talking about the forged polymer. And I'm not talking about the forged polymer. When consumed as valuable substance, allows you to obtain a piece of armor upon successfully forging a black armory weapon, which is pretty. It's actually really nice. It's actually a really nice perk. The obsidian radiance, well, you can't get that until you've gotten Izanagi's Burden, so I'm not even going to talk about that yet until I make a video on it and actually have it. So without further ado, let's go to that Izanami forge. Okay, so I'm going to cut this part of the video out because it's probably getting pretty annoying. It's just seeing me chatting and just hearing me, because I mean, if you really, Mr. Fruit does it better. Mr. Fruit's much more interesting to watch than me. I mean, you could just use the Tonger. I've never actually used the sniper. I see that it's one of the rapid fire frame ones, which I do not like. Unless it's like something like the Aachen during Riven, which it's a good secondary for DPS. But yeah, I'm using a taken barrier. Not really sure why I pointed that out, or why I said I'm using a taken barrier. The only reason I can think about it is because I'm not actually using a taken barrier currently, but taken barrier, it's incredibly good in things like Shattered Throne or any taken related activities, especially Last Wish. Like in certain things like, for example, Shuro, where there's all those ads shooting at you, that taken barrier is just gonna soak up all that damage, which taken barrier is also similar to Breakneck in the way where it has a hidden perk, like with the more stacks of Rampage you have, you get a faster reload, which I'm not sure if you knew that, but that is actually a hidden perk for Breakneck. So if you didn't know that, now you know. But the hidden-ish, perk I was talking about is that. I heard that was weird. Okay. So while you're watching this, if you've ever wondered what this little Vex portal right here is, it is it's a gateway to Izanami. Because it's a Vex thing, you gotta have a Vex portal going into it. Just like for Gafanin, there's like all this falling around it. For Vex, it's in a Vex area. And also, if you're trying to go into Izanami and don't have it, you do have to complete the quest. You can still go in here and everything and travel here, but there is going to be a little barricade right through here. There's going to be like a barricade. So you have to complete all the quest and the nightfall and everything. One of the reasons I think that Izanami is a lot easier than the Volunder Forge or Gafanin is that you have higher light levels, and if you have the higher the light level, the better. I'm not saying, and basically the higher the light level the person is, just the easier everyone is, the easier how easy it is. That's one of the main differences that you'll see, and quite a bit actually in this. Because I'm not okay. I can't explain this because basically power level, it's pretty nice. Yeah, after this I'm going to be working on my bow frame to get that Laminarch, hopefully. And anyways, just a Spiteful Fang, because it's always nice to have a Spiteful Fang. But, so, what I mean by it's easier is that 625 or higher, you can do max damage to everything. And people usually have good loadouts. Like this guy right here, he is trying to go for Izanagi's Burden, because he has all that full gear. So he's trying to go for that quest in Izanagi's Burden. Yeah, I'm probably not going to be able to get this one done. I can tell that already. If I do get this done, that's gonna be surprising. But if I do, I'm gonna be quite surprised actually, because I started at 30 seconds and we're doing fairly good so far. So basically, when you see that forge there, you throw in the orbs that you see there into the actual forge. And then there's also the maximum temper and everything. If you haven't already completed that, I would recommend doing it. At least this part, because the actual way to get the keys is incredibly annoying for me. It's also so basically the mysterious box rewards you with Izanagi's Burden, which if you didn't already know that, that's a problem with the Izanami Forge. How they just bounce right off of that thing. It happens when it happens when you have, and that sometimes when you pick something up, it immediately takes it off your hands for you, which isn't that helpful when you're trying to actually hold it. But for the first wave, there is going to be phased goblins, which are basically harpies that are harpies in the time to kill. So that's another pretty good thing about this forge. Oh yeah, by the way, about that maximum temper thing I was talking about, it is. When it starts, there should be a sort of drone that spawns in around here. Yep, right there. A drone will spawn in there. You kill this drone, and then there's going to be another drone that spawns in over here, over somewhere in this area. I'm pretty sure, but I don't really care because I don't need it, and nobody else really does because everyone else here is going for something like Izanami, which they already have is a maximum temper for. Basically, just kill those shield drones and eventually that thing will drop for you. Yeah, this is the problem. If you don't have two people at middle covering the ads, see, the ads are just gonna absolutely murder you and mess you up. That's a common thing that these ads in the middle like to do, because there's so many of them on the second wave especially. If you don't have two in the middle, you're pretty much doomed. And that's what I meant by make sure you have two in the middle constantly. So just be sure that you have two in the middle. Really, that's all. That's basically the only key to getting Izanami Forge completed. Okay, I just gotta pick up all these batteries I created. Ooh, that's a lot of batteries though. Dang. That's probably enough to get us to the Forge Warden if we actually throw them in and not absolutely get messed up. Wow. Wow. Okay. Okay. Oh crap, it's Hydra. Yeah, see how much just a good roaming super is? It got us from 30 seconds all the way to 1 minute with all of these spare orbs remaining. But really, all you need is 10 seconds left by the end of it, and you got it done. Because for some reason, it requires time to actually fully load up. Like, it requires like 15 or 10 seconds to fully really to work in general. And this is some DPS. That's a lot of damage. And then he goes into the middle. A lot of time if he doesn't normally go in that order, it's normally fairly random. But most of the time he goes from right there to there to into there. He doesn't normally go onto that side. But he dropped me a nice little prime. How kind of you. Bad news and a prime. So that is a guide to the Izanami Forge. Goodbye, and I will see you in the next time.